it's Rana, and I have a layout today for Rainbow Crush and Off the Board with Pineapple Papers. This is the layout that I chose. It is Whatever Wednesday for Off the Board, and I have had this pinned for quite a while. I've done something similar, but not exactly like this with the heart, so I wanted to do this. The layout was created for the Cocoa Vanilla Studio design team by Michelle Stokes, and I am going to be using 49 and Market Rouge because our Rainbow Crush color is red. And I loved these pictures, and they are mostly red in the pictures, and I thought that this would be perfect for this collection. So most of what I'm using is from the Rouge collection. There may be a few bits and pieces from other things. I do have just some little heart stickers. I found some stamps from Unity Stamps, and one would have been perfect, and then I forgot to use it until the very end, so I ended up just using the smaller one, and it turned out okay. I liked it too. So I am going to use this for my background. This layout is going to take quite a bit longer than excuse me, the ones I've been doing recently, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here to make the heart. I just took a piece of scrap white. These are real thin white paper that I don't really use for scrapbooking. I use it more if I'm going to have a journaling block, or I want to stamp on something and cut it out, or just different things. But it was perfect to make my kindergarten heart. And I go back over it several times till I get it exactly how I want it. And to me, I think that's the perfect way. I do have a Cricut. I could have cut it on the Cricut, but I liked how this worked out better because I could keep adjusting, and so it worked out fine. So I liked how that looked. I'm measuring with my hand to see. I'm going to go ahead and trace it and then cut it out. And that way I can use the same sheet of background paper for both my heart and for the actual background of the layout. This 49 and Market paper is so beautiful. It's so nice and thick. I thought it would be perfect for this type of a layout. So that's why I wanted to, and I only have one sheet of the one I'm cutting right now. So I definitely wanted to use it for both. I thought it was perfect for both, and I liked how it carried through, even though, we're going to have all of those little banner pieces all the way around. So I didn't show you all of the holes, but I did poke holes with that tool all the way around. I'm going to show you just a couple of stitches. This is the chain stitch. It's not exactly the chain stitch that you would do if you do embroidery, but it works perfect, in my opinion, for paper. You go and make 2 stitches, and then each stitch after those initial 2, you're going to go up into the next hole, come up through the back, go under the previous stitch, then go back down the same hole. And you just keep doing that over and over, and you can get perfect chain stitches. I think it's a lot easier than the regular chain stitch way, so that's why I like to show it. It's not my original idea. I saw Allison Davis do hers that way, and I really liked it. And that's how I've been doing mine for several years, and I really think it is easy and fast, and is such a good look for hand stitching. So I like to use that stitch probably better than any of the others. I do go ahead and distress all the way around the edges, which I normally do, especially if I've hand cut something. Gets rid of any imperfections and that kind of thing. So I do that, and I'm going to get this glued down flat to just another one of those sheets of white paper that is real thin, because I wanted to make sure that I had something to glue the heart down to, since it's just the whole of the other place. So I'm going to use this paper and I'm going to use both sides of it. And that's what I'm kind of deciding, like, oh, yeah, maybe I can use both of those and it'll give me a little bit more color variation. It's all red. It's just different. One is more of a mixed media watercolor type red, and then the other is more of the, well, it reads as a solid. It's still 49 in market, but it's definitely more of the red. And I'm going to pull out my scoring tool and get halfway. I did do my each one of these strips in 1.5 inches. And I kind of measured what 1 inch was going to look like, but I feel like probably hers on the original layout was 1 inch. And I think that would have looked better. It might have been a little bit easier to manipulate, especially with the 49 in market being so thick. It might have been better to use the 1 inch, but I liked how it was looking with 1.5, and so I went with that. It was just a little bit harder to get the texture that I was looking for, but I did get that figured out. It was quite the process. I probably spent more time putting all of these on than I actually did hand stitching all the way around the layout. So just because I couldn't decide exactly how to make it work so that I had the dimension that I wanted, because in her layout you can see that her folds really stayed folded, and I was having a hard time getting that to work with this nice thick paper. So I'm going to put a few down and they're going to be fairly flat, and I'm not loving it, so I'm going to go off screen and play with it a little bit more and keep experimenting until I get the look I want, and then I'll come back and show you. I'll cut away from this and then I'll come back and show you how I ended up making it work a little bit better. So I do have the foam tape pulled out, and I'm thinking, okay, well, if I just put it up on each of the edges, it'll pop up and that'll be good enough. And I still didn't really like it. So I wanted it to stay folded looking. And that was just pulling up the edges. It wasn't really keeping it folded. So I'm going to fix that by cutting the foam tape in half. So I have a nice little narrow edge. And then I'm going to use that in the center where the crease is, so that I'm going to be able to keep that crease. I think it's going to cut away here in a minute. I'm going to do a couple on the bottom too and see if I like it and how I want that to work. I'm still trying to think about how to make this work. But I do end up getting that to work basically by putting some foam tape in the crease and then kind of squishing it. And you're going to see that in a minute here. I'm going to squish it and, okay, sorry about that. I am going to squish it and then add some foam tape behind it to kind of hold it in place once it's been squished. And this is mostly what I'm doing here is, as I'm still trying to figure it out, I am just still adding it on the edges and putting a little bit in. But here you can see how much dimension it has, and it is definitely dimensional. I'm going to show you here where I put the little thin strip in the middle. And I've also added some banners. I noticed that they had fishtailed a few of their strips. Michelle did in the original piece. And that's where I'm squishing it in and using the foam tape basically on the back side so that it holds it squished. And that worked really well. You can see how much dimension there is as I have gone back and kind of fixed each of these. It is very dimensional and I super, super love it. It took a little bit of time, and it took a little bit of time for me to figure out how to get it just right, but the end result worked out great. Even though, I mean, if you don't like it thick, this might not be the technique for you, but if you don't mind to have one that's a little bit thick every once in a while, this is fun. This is such a cute look. I really love how it turned out. The foam tape that I'm putting here, and I'm going to do these strips, I believe is the 3mm foam tape. And because I had so many layers and I wanted this to lay nice and flat, I felt like I needed the 3mm to make it all even. But you can see even on the back side as you're looking at this how the creases are staying, and it looks really good in real life. I liked how adding some under both pieces, some of the fishtails, it really gave it an extra dimension, and it turned out super cute. I hope you'll give this a try because it was fun. It did take, quite a bit of time. I think a lot of that was just trying to figure out what was actually going to work and what I was going to like. But look at that. I mean, I think it turned out great, and the stitching just added to that texture and dimension as well. And I thought it was really a cute idea, a cute layout, with all the different colors, because that's what she did with hers, in her Cocoa Vanilla Studio paper. We are doing just red for this, and I think this worked just as well. So I do have 3 photos instead of the 2 like she had in hers, and I actually have 4 photos. So you see me there kind of playing around with how I'm going to make this work for my 4th photo. And I had the little 49 Market flip up things. I forget what they're called. I showed them in the beginning. But anyway, those are 3x4, and my photos are actually 2x3s. So I intended to use it and then just do a mat behind the photos so that it would be 3x4. But I just decided I didn't want to cover up any more than what this is going to cover up as it is. So I'm going to come up with a different idea for that, and you're going to see that here towards the end. Now I'm just going to go through and pick out some embellishments. I didn't want to go super floral heavy because, well, I don't know why, honestly. I usually love flowers for anything, but she has little cherries on her outfit, and I was kind of hoping that I could add in, some little cherries and things, and of course the hearts, because the whole layout is a heart. So I was kind of going with that, and just a few little tiny florals here and there, and that was going to be enough for this. I just really wanted the great big heart to shine, and I think it does in the end. So I am going to go through my rub-ons. I found a really pretty, nice dark red butterfly that's very watercolory, and I think it looked fantastic on this background. It just looks like it was made for it. I found the word adorable, and I'm going to use that along with the word always that was the chipboard, and I thought that was a perfect title. She is at a birthday party, but I didn't really feel the need to, make a big birthday, make it all about birthday stuff. It's not her birthday. It was a little coworker of my daughter, and this was her little girl, and so it wasn't someone that she's going to see all the time or anything like that. But it was sweet that they invited her, and she really had a lot of fun on these little bounce houses and stuff. So I thought that was fine. I wanted to document it. It was super cute pictures. And it just so happens that the little birthday girl also was wearing red. So I thought it was perfect for this layout. So you can see the little hearts that I'm going to use. Those are some super old ones from EK Success. This is where I'm trying to decide if I can stand having a mat that big. And I quickly decided, no, I can't. But I am going to still use it. So the one that's going to end up being underneath, the one that I'm showing right there, right now, kind of shows the whole little bounce house castle and how they had it all decorated and everything. And it was really cute. So I wanted to use that, but I didn't, it's not really a great picture. They're kind of far away and everything, so I liked the other one better. And she's bouncing with her tongue out, so I thought that that was funny. Her brother has always got his tongue out on the soccer field. If he's on the trampoline, it doesn't matter. I mean, that kid always has his tongue out when he's doing something. So I think Harley is going to just follow right there in his footsteps. I'm adding a little XOXO and a floral up by the butterfly. The hearts that I was just saying are from EK Success. They are a brighter red. On screen, because they are shiny, it looks like they're an off color. They're not an off color, they're just a little bit lighter, but they're actually the exact same color as the thread that I used and some of the butterflies, the little bow. They're the same color. It's just the fact that the camera and the lighting really makes them, because they are shiny, just makes them look like they're a different color. And they're going to come into play, and they are no longer sticky. It's a product that I keep on my desk all the time. I've been trying to use up. The little antenna for the butterfly came off, and it is a tiny little laser cut thing, and I was able to get it right back on there anyway with my glue, and I couldn't believe it because I figured I was going to be cutting them both off and destroying them on, but it worked. I was able to get it right back over there, and so that was lucky. I'm really liking how that looks. My design is a little bit different than hers because of the third photo. Her title was over to the side, and then she also had like a subtitle under the photos, and mine is not going to work that way, but I really like how how the clusters came out, and I think it turned out really good. So I'm going to use several of these little hearts, and I'm getting more on this layout than I have in several. You can see that I still have quite a few. I think I had 2 sheets of this, and oh my goodness, I've been wanting to get them used up. Off screen, I am going to add another heart. Oh, I don't think I've put the label on yet. You'll see here in a minute, I'm going to add a label that I'm just going to use for the date. I'm going to do the journaling under the lifted up photo that's going to cover up the one on the far left there. So there you can see I've got the little cherries. I just had one set of cherries. They were from Bella Boulevard, and they matched exactly with the hearts. I actually have a doodle pop that's a little bit bigger. I could not find that for anything. So here's the label I'm going to use for the date, and it's going to go right underneath the Always Adorable, right there. And I originally thought I would just put the little girl's name and birthday party. And here I remembered that I had these stamps, and I wanted to add the little cherry stamps, kind of second generation and messy, to make them look like part of the background so that they would just blend into the background, but also, have some little cherries on there. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use black soot, but again, I'm using it after I've stamped off. And then I'm going to use fired brick. Those are both Distress inks, and they matched very well with this collection. So I did that in 3 places, and then I'm going to come back in after I look at it again. That's the other cherry that I found, and it was really cute, and it would have been perfect if I would have thought and used it in my clusters. But I did not. I failed to do that, and I do that so often when I'm using stamps. So there you can see I have taken the fabric. It's like fabric washi tape. I love this stuff, and it makes a perfect hinge so that I can use that and lift the photo up. And to make it even more secure, you could stitch that, and I would have done that if I hadn't had, so much foam tape. But I am going to just I added just a little bit of Nuva Deluxe adhesive underneath of it, and it will stick fine probably without it, but I did use that too. So this is Tara O'Rourke's Hop. Definitely check out the Paper Snob here on YouTube, but also in the Facebook group. and you can find information in the description box below about both of those things. And then you can play along, or if you want to, in the Facebook group, you can also see everyone else's red layouts today by following along in the playlist, and there's a playlist also for Off the Board. Thanks a lot for being here. I appreciate you very much. Bye-bye.